Picture this. You tried, you texted first, you were always available, you explained yourself, you forgave, you waited. And they didn't really care. They took you for granted. They were confused, busy, not ready, so you finally did the one thing you'd been scared to do. You left, you pulled your energy back, you stopped chasing. And that's when it happens. Now they're watching your stories, now they're liking your posts, now they're texting, "Hey stranger, miss you, I've been thinking about you." So why is it that people only seem to miss you after you're gone? Why not when you were right there, loving them? In this video, we are breaking down the psychology behind that pattern, why leaving often triggers missing, regret, even obsession, and what that means for you. Stay with me until the end, because I'm also going to show you how to respond when they come back, so you don't get pulled right back into the same cycle. Welcome to Love Psychology Coded, where we decode attraction, attachment, emotional power. So before we go any further, if you want to understand the deeper psychology behind situations like this, hit that subscribe button right now. If you're interested in why people do what they do in love and relationships, and you want the psychology behind it, you're in the right place. Let's start with a really important clarification, so this doesn't turn into a game or a manipulation tactic. When I say after you leave, I don't just mean you block them dramatically and disappear out of nowhere. Leaving can mean you stop chasing, you stop overgiving, you emotionally detach, you remove them from the center of your life. You set real boundaries and stick to them. Sometimes you literally end the relationship. Sometimes you just stop feeding it in the same way. Here's the key idea: people often don't miss you as a person first. They miss what your presence did for them, and they usually only feel that once it's gone. This video is not about pretending to leave just to get a reaction or playing cold to manipulate someone. It's about understanding the deeper psychological mechanisms that get activated when you finally step back. Let's go into reason number 1. Humans are wired to value things more when they become scarce. As long as you were always there, they had no real contrast. Your attention felt normal, your presence felt given, your love felt guaranteed. Psychology calls this the scarcity effect and the contrast effect. Scarcity effect: we value what is rare or hard to get. Contrast effect: we understand the value of something by what it looks like compared to what we have now. When you leave, their daily baseline changes. That good morning text, gone. That emotional support, gone. That person who always said, "It's okay, I understand," gone. Suddenly there's contrast. Before you versus having you, after having you versus not having you, and that contrast is painful. They start to realize, oh, that comfort wasn't automatic, that understanding wasn't automatic, that was special. They often don't realize that when you're right there broadcasting love 24/7, because the brain is efficient. It adapts and stops consciously noticing what it never has to worry about losing. So the first reason they miss you after you leave is simple. Your absence creates the contrast their brain needed to actually see your value. But that's only the surface level. Underneath that, something much deeper is happening. Your leaving can activate their attachment system. In attachment theory, we talk about 3 common styles: secure, anxious, avoidant, and disorganized, which is more complex. Here's where it gets interesting. When you were chasing them, overgiving, or constantly available, their attachment system might have been dormant or comfortable. If they lean avoidant, for example, too much closeness can feel suffocating. They pull back when you move toward them. They downplay what they feel. But when you pull away or completely leave, their attachment system can suddenly kick in. The threat of, "I might actually lose this person," hits. Now the avoidant person who needed space starts thinking. The person who said, "I'm not ready," starts reminiscing. The one who said, "I don't know what I want," starts feeling a loss. Psychologically, this is called attachment protest. When a bond is threatened or broken, the system that keeps us connected to important people gets activated. The brain goes, "Wait, where's my person? I need to restore this bond." So you'll see behaviors like random check-ins, "Hey, how are you?" Nostalgic texts, "Remember when we," sudden interest in your life. Not necessarily because they had some profound moral awakening, but because the idea of losing you finally registered as real. With anxious people, it can be even more intense. They may panic when they feel you really leaving. They suddenly realize what you mean to them. They beg, chase, or future fake to pull you back in. So reason number 2, your leaving can activate dormant attachment needs that were never triggered while you were endlessly available. But it gets even more specific when we look at how the brain's reward system works. Think about how your dynamic probably worked. You gave attention, they pulled back. They gave a little, you felt hope. Then they disappeared, you chased. Cycle repeats. This kind of inconsistent reinforcement is exactly what hooks the brain. It's the same principle that makes slot machines addictive. You don't get a reward every time. You get it randomly. The anticipation and uncertainty spike dopamine. In relationships, you became part of their dopamine loop. Your messages, affection, validation, even your arguments, all part of a habitual emotional pattern. You reflected them back to themselves, gave them attention, made them feel chosen. When you leave, that dopamine source disappears. The brain literally registers it as a loss of a reward. Their nervous system goes into a kind of craving or withdrawal. So they might not consciously think, "I miss Samantha" or "I miss Alex" in deep philosophical terms. On a brain level, it's more like, "I'm not getting the emotional hit I used to get from this person. I need to restore that." And that craving can feel like missing you. So they check your profile. They accidentally, like an old photo, they send a casual text just to see if you'll react. Reason number 3, they miss the emotional and chemical pattern they built around you, the habit of how you made them feel. But it's not just chemistry. It's also about their ego and identity. Let's be honest, being cared for feels good to the ego. When you were there, you made them feel desirable, important, wanted, admired, special. Even if they didn't choose you fully, you still gave them a sense of, "Someone out there really wants me. I can always go back to them if I need to." You were a mirror reflecting back positive things about them. "You're worth my effort. You're worth my time. You're worth my forgiveness." When you leave, that mirror disappears. The ego takes a hit. Now they start thinking, "Wait, did I misjudge this? Why don't they want me anymore? Did they find someone better? Was I not enough for them?" This can create a kind of ego panic. It's not always, "I deeply love you." Sometimes it's, "I'm not okay with you no longer seeing me as special." That's why some people who didn't commit to you will still get jealous when they see you move on. They might say, "You're really going to be with them? Wow, so you just replaced me. Oh, so you never really cared then." Notice, they weren't this emotional when they had you. The ego gets loud when it's losing a fan. So reason number 4, they miss the version of themselves they got to be in your presence. Now let's add another layer. Distance changes the story their mind tells about you. When you're close to someone every day, they see your good sides, your flaws, your moods, your boundaries, the arguments, the tension, the boring parts. It's real. But once you leave, they're no longer dealing with the real-time, full version of you. Now they're dealing with memories of you, imaginations of you, and often a filtered highlight reel. The brain has a tendency towards selective memory. It softens some of the bad parts. It amplifies meaningful or intense moments. It creates a kind of nostalgia filter. So instead of the day you argued for 3 hours, their brain pulls up the night you stayed up talking until 3 a.m., the time you showed up when no one else did, the way you laughed at their worst jokes. Time plus distance equals more fantasy, less reality. They may start thinking, maybe it wasn't that bad, maybe I overreacted, maybe they were the best I ever had and I just didn't see it. This doesn't mean their memory is accurate. It means their mind is rewriting a story that makes sense of the loss. So reason number 5. With distance, they often start missing the idealized version of you more than the complicated, real you. And that idealized version, dangerous, because it can pull you back into something that never truly changed. Before we talk about what to do about that, there are 2 more powerful psychological factors: comparison and the fear of permanent loss. After you leave, life doesn't stay the same for you. Maybe you start healing, you hit the gym, you work on your purpose, you glow up emotionally, physically, spiritually, you seem lighter. They see it through mutual friends, through social media, or the simple silence of not having access to your life anymore. Now their brain starts doing comparisons. They seem happier without me. They look better now than when they were with me. They're actually moving on with someone else. Psychology calls this social proof. When we see that someone is valued, wanted, or thriving, we unconsciously assign them more value. So the same person they took for granted before now looks like a high-value, hard-to-get person that other people might want. Add to that the fear of permanent loss. While you were around, they always assumed there was more time. When you withdraw or move on, it becomes real. I might never get this person back. That fear of finality can trigger regret. What if, thinking, late-night overthinking, sudden urges to reach out before it's too late. And here's a painful but honest point. Sometimes they don't miss you. They miss knowing they could always come back to you if their other options failed. Your leaving removes that emergency exit. Reason number 6. They miss the comfort of knowing you were always there, especially when they see you becoming someone other people would want. Now, all of this leads to a very practical question. So what should you actually do when they suddenly miss you after you leave? Let's get really clear. Just because someone misses you does not automatically mean they are capable of loving you in the way you deserve. Missing you is about their feelings. Being healthy with you is about their behavior, growth, and consistency. When they come back around, here are a few guidelines. First, don't confuse emotion with transformation. Them saying, I miss you, I regret what I did, I didn't realize what I had, that can be real emotionally. They might truly feel that in the moment. But ask, have they reflected on what went wrong? Are they taking accountability without blaming you? What has actually changed in their behavior, lifestyle, or mindset? If the answer is, I just feel lonely, or I just miss you, that's it, then they might be seeking relief from their feelings, not a real relationship. Second, watch what they do when you maintain your standards. When they come back, don't instantly drop your boundaries. Don't rush back into the same dynamic. Don't pretend the past didn't happen. Instead, calmly communicate, if we're going to reconnect, it has to be different this time. These are my needs. These are my boundaries. I'm not interested in going back to the same pattern. Then watch, do they respect your pace, show consistency, meet your needs halfway, or do they get frustrated, try to rush physical intimacy, lose interest when you don't go back to old you who tolerated everything? Their reaction to your new standards tells you whether they miss you or they miss the old dynamic where they had more power. Third, remember, their return is information, not a fairy tale. You can choose to forgive and rebuild slowly, stay friendly but distant, or completely move on. But base that choice on who they are now, how safe and respected you feel, whether your future vision actually aligns. Don't let "now they finally miss me" become the reason you abandon the progress you've made. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is acknowledge their feelings, appreciate the honesty, and still choose yourself. Fourth, use their missing you as a mirror for your growth. Instead of asking, how do I make them miss me more? Ask, what did I learn from the fact that they only valued me when I left? Where did I abandon my own standards to keep them around? How can I show up differently in the next connection so I don't have to walk away to be taken seriously? Because here's a deep truth. When you respect yourself from the beginning, you naturally attract people who feel your value before they lose you. Let's summarize the main reasons they often miss you after you leave. Scarcity and contrast. They only understand your value when your presence is no longer guaranteed. Attachment activation. Your leaving triggers their attachment system and fear of loss. Dopamine and habit loops. You are part of their emotional reward system. Losing that hurts. Ego and identity. They miss how special and important they felt in your eyes. Distance and fantasy. Time and space create an idealized version of you in their mind. Comparison and fear of permanent loss. Seeing you glow up or move on activates regret and fear they can't get you back. All of that can be real and still not be enough for a healthy, reciprocal relationship. The real power is this: you don't need someone to miss you to prove you were valuable. Your value was there when you were showing up, loving, trying, and giving your best. They just couldn't or wouldn't see it in time. If this video helped you understand your situation more clearly, you're exactly the kind of person this channel is for. Here on Emotional Psychology Coded, we break down attraction, attachment, emotional power decoded. If you want more videos on why avoidant partners come back, how attachment styles affect your love life, and how to rebuild your power after heartbreak, then subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. And in the comments, tell me, have you had someone suddenly miss you after you finally walked away? What did they say and what did you decide to do? Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to read. Thank you for watching, and remember, being missed is not the goal. Being respected, cherished, and chosen consistently is. I'll see you in the next one.